Armada Book 2 Chapter 2 The Outposts Part 2. There are hundreds of ships in orbit. What would you do with them, Andrew? Timmy asked. Olive, can you show Timmy the general plans, please? Olive appeared and produced a hologram of the intended hop points. The red ones are the hops we intend to deploy around Earth and planet LA. The yellow ones are the intended hops that extends further out into open space at the Earth's back side. Andrew explained. So the sphere have become larger now? Timmy commented. Olive explained, yes, there are now 5 major galaxies in the sphere that defines the boundaries that is over 9 BLY across at one point. The Earth has an area facing opposite the sphere. The yellow lights show 2 hop lines extending almost 4 BLY outwards from the sphere relative to Earth and planet Los Angeles. Who knows what we might find out there? Ellie said. These are also early warning outposts for our galaxy. So if there is anything out there we will know about it. Andrew added. I think that's a great idea. Julia said. She was looking at the hologram from several angles. So good in fact that the Norsets, Max and Intkis are converting their hops ships to outposts. Ellie said. When are you leaving to deploy these hops? Vicky asked. I'd like to stay for a week. The men need the R&R. Andrew answered. Vicky, I have some Norset scientists if you care to get some as your staff. Ellie said. Not really. Godanen offered to provide Norset 1-to-1 teachers, but the people are so slow to learn from the Intkis. They could at best learn the basic theories in 200 years. If the Norsets come in they might go loco. I'm thinking of assigning half of them to learn the Norset technologies. You have to start somewhere. Elaine said. Ellie turned to Maria, so tell me how you got hold of Edna. Maria started to tell her the story and the 3 moved a bit further from the group around the table. In a few moments they were in a world of their own, in a world back in elementary and high school. Andrew sat beside Vicky. So how is the center doing, Vic? I think I should just assign them in teams with specific target technologies for specific ends so they can be at least productive. Most of them have been students for more than 5 months now and I need to produce something. The Norsets must come in and start with our scientists and I don't want to repeat the mistake of having them teach the scientists one-on-one and not be productive. I guess everybody has to produce something. Elaine said. I want to decide which of the new technologies are we going to bring to Earth. Albert has asked for my recommendation. I think he's setting things up for the election of his party's candidate. So a boost in technology prior to an election will drive the economy higher, giving his party the edge. I'd say a new technology in the area of telecommunications will be most welcome. Julia said. The problem with that is the most basic telecommunications we have is far too advanced compared to what they have on Earth. It will require a leap rather than a measured step. Danny said. That's true. The range is so far you can call somebody in the next galaxy like it was a local call. The signals are different and the processing is different. I'd say this will be hard to implement with the existing infrastructure on Earth. Timmy added. I am leaning more on food production and one more. How about power storage? You know, like the diamond. Timmy asked. We cannot use diamond, they're too valuable on Earth. Maybe a lesser crystal that we can manufacture, less efficient but would be a good start. Julia said. Vicky agreed, that's true. In fact the fusion power generators created an eternal surplus of energy. A storage system can make the power distribution more efficient. Maybe cars can now run on crystal batteries. I don't think crystal battery is the way to go. I read from a briefing provided by Albert's office that they have started to produce small fusion generators that can fit in a car and can be used as a regular household appliance. Elaine said. The Macs have a telecom technology that is backward enough for Earth's use. They have stopped using this more than 100,000 years ago. Maybe this is the answer since the technology's back end needed is not that far from the infrastructure we have on Earth. Vicky said. Good for you, dear. I am glad we are able to help you decide. Andrew said. I did not hear you speak a word on her problem, Andrew. Timmy said. That's okay, dear, at least you held my hand while I quest for the answer from our friends. You're due any time now, right, Vic? Julia asked. Yes, in 4 days Andrew will become a daddy. Wow, I am lucky to be here. You're always lucky. Timmy said. We would have to go to Earth for the baby. Olive has the best facilities technology has to offer. Andrew said. Olive appeared and Dr. Chiu, head of our medic group, is one of the best doctors we have. You can deliver right here in space. The first human baby born in space. That's cool. Imagine the first space citizen. Julia said. But I have my own OB and pedia doctors on Earth. Bring them over. Maybe it's about time we set up a good hospital with full services. We can fund the construction of a hospital here. Our small clinic is too small now for our growing population. Timmy said. If they don't want to stay, just make them sign a non-disclosure form and explain that their lives will be a tad longer than it would normally be. Elaine added. You know what, guys, I will build the hospital and name it after me and Julia. I've always wanted to have my own hospital, so why not start now? Danny said. Julia smiled. I like your idea, Danny dear, let's do it. If I may, what you can do is establish a hospital with a large medical research facility so we can advance medical technologies from all the alien body of knowledge for humans. I think the Intkis have one with the Norsets. We should have the same with the Norsets and Intkis. If you think about it, the number of sick people will be going down because of the TPs. So hospitals as we know it will be a thing of the past. I can assign several dozen medical scientists, just tell me when you need them. Vicky said. See, the baby caused Timmy to solve a pressing problem. Andrew said. Well, the baby did cause the solution of an intergalactic telecommunications issue. Vicky said. Exactly. Julia said. Let's go to Earth tomorrow and talk to my doctor. I don't think the doctors back home would be interested. There is no money to be made here. Andrew said. Pay them big with diamond. Timmy said. And when they find out people here are not too much into diamond and they find the diamonds scattered all over, they will feel cheated. Andrew countered. Tell them their lives will be longer. The pay is small, but they can have a very large tract of real estate plus the chance to travel the galaxies. Elaine said. This delivery doctor is okay. He's my cousin, so he does not charge me anything. In fact, he was at our wedding. I do want to talk to him and bring his entire family here. In that case, everything's cool. Andrew said. I notice you have a lot of old construction personnel, dear. Julia asked. You know who recruited them? The couple who tried to recruit Olive into the adult entertainment industry. I remember those two. Andrew said. Olive added, Ellie and I did talk to them in San Francisco, but Andrew paid them up front earlier, so they were committed. How many did those two recruit? Andrew asked. If you can imagine it, Andrew, 200,000 in just 5 months. I got a quarter of that number while. My partners Jimmy and Rod got 30,000 each, the rest went to Maria. My 2 friends are now busy creating 2 entirely new cities, one 20 miles from here and the other 28 miles on the opposite direction from here. That's a lot. And they have their wives and some, their entire families. That's why our population is now over 2 million. Elaine's university is overloaded. So Maria's plans to put up another university and a grade school is a welcome project to complement the existing 2 grade schools here. Timmy said. We are starting our operations in Planet Seattle and Planet Portland. The scientists decided against settling on 2 other planets and they have moved to 2 planets they felt would be better for the US in the long term. These two have more resources, water, and almost the same as the size of Earth. We are building a very large plant established by retired Lockheed and Boeing engineers who partnered with some retired German and Japanese scientists. The building is being funded by Maria's Coop Bank and will make full use of several dozen medium formulators Andrew brought in. Danny said. What will they manufacture? Julia asked. Danny answered, mostly small ships for the private sector, Sabre attack drones and transport ships. My friends Jimmy and Rod built a factory using the several formulators to create manufactured home components. These components can be used to build homes and buildings and they are very strong. Stronger than steel, but light and easy to work with. So our home building process just got 10 times faster and now cost 10 times less. And I saw a large commercial complex that just opened. Andrew said. See buddy, we're really got our groove on. Before nightfall, all the guests have left. And Vicky was able to get her much-needed rest. Andrew realized it then that Ellie and her friends left much earlier. The next day Andrew and Vicky went to see her doctor cousin. They waited in the clinic and could see that there are not a lot of patients during that day. In less than 10 minutes they were called in to see the doctor. Vicky greeted, "Hello Joey." Andrew, I don't know if you still remember Joey, he went to our wedding with his sister Jennifer and my Auntie Audrey and Uncle Rex. Yes, I do, how are you doctor? Call me Joey, Andrew. He sat his cousin and proceeded to look at her. He felt her in several places for some time and concluded the baby will arrive on time. Joey, there is a bit of a request I would like to make. Vicky started. For you Vicky, anything. I would like to deliver the baby in Andrew's ship. I would like to see the facilities. That's not a problem. Olive please. Olive beamed them straight to the medical facilities. How do I scan the patient here? Joey asked. Olive appeared and said, just tell me what to do doctor. I'd like to have a scan of the patient. Joey said. Olive produced a hologram of Vicky and what's inside her. She made the image bigger having the baby at the center. How detailed would you want doctor? I can show you all the way to the molecular level if you want. Wow, that's our boy. Andrew said. Yes, and every day I ask Brad to show him to me. So, you can say I watched him grow. Vicky said. I need the usual operating equipment. Joey said. We have the old ones in the next room. In this room you just tell me what you need and you will have it. If you need a different patient operating facility than this one, just tell me. You don't have to disinfect because there are no bacteria in this room that would be harmful to humans. If you want me to beam the baby out via the natural route I can do that too, but you would have to take care of the cord. I can cauterize or clamp it from inside or outside. If we beam the baby outside you would not need any anesthesia because Vicky will not feel a thing until the baby is out. I don't think she wants to be put to sleep based on what she has been telling Brad. The best really is the natural way. And since Vicky is old enough, sorry Vic, and has delivered naturally before she would not have any problem delivering naturally. I guess we can beam the child out through her opening to ease her pain then cut the cord like any normal delivery. Actually Joey, that's not the only request I want from you. Okay, what's the next request? Our friends Danny and Julia, you know Secretary of State Julia Bird, wants to put up a large hospital and medical research facility on planet Los Angeles. I was thinking maybe you may like to be the director of the hospital. I would like to recommend you. You can recommend I suppose but I am sure they will not choose me. So okay. If they choose you, you have to honor your word. If they choose me, but I don't think they will. Look Vicky, the job will make me move to planet Los Angeles, something I have not considered doing. So it's a big deal. But yes, I will honor my word. Your parents and sister are all living in planet Los Angeles already so think about it. Let's go back to the clinic. They beamed down and Vicky and Andrew left and were beamed out of the restrooms. The next few days were uneventful and Vicky's delivery went through without a hitch. Andrew made sure Olive was in on all the events. Vicky was able to walk right from the bed. They went home and Vicky rested on the bed with the baby in her arms. Andrew was quiet all the time and could not make any sense of how he felt. Olive just stood there. The most troubling feeling he had was the fear of leaving his baby fatherless if he dies on one of his expeditions. Vicky sensed him. She extended her left arm. "Look, you are not going to die, and you will live to see several generations of grandkids." Andrew kneeled beside the bed and held her hand. Then he held the baby's feet and felt it smooth, silky, and so tiny. He felt happy, quietly happy. Olive just stood there. "Have you decided what to name him?" "I've thought of the name Angel. I was leaning on Adam. The first man in space. I like that." The next day they found several Macs, Inkies and humans outside their house. Andrew went out and asked what's all the fuzz about. They wanted to apply as the baby's nanny. Vicky went out holding the baby and told the group she has already talked to a Mac and accepted her services as a nanny for the baby. Vicky thanked them, then Andrew thanked them for showing up. The group quietly left. "I guess you already have everything in check and taken care of." "Yes dear, including you," Andrew laughed and he kissed his baby on the forehead. There was flurry of activity since Andrew and his Armada left to deploy the hops as plotted by Olive. They deployed the hops one after the other without a hitch. They have done this several times before and they know their job. The outpost concept proved to be a more efficient and effective way to deploy and operate the hops. Andrew was all over the place. He even slept in one outpost to understand the life they would be living. He even deployed a probe and controlled it towards the nearest planet. Later he realized that it would be better to deploy the probes at one probe per planet for 4 days and move on to the next for another 4 days. The primary focus is to gather primary data and specifics later on if needed. He also noted the multi-alien staff needed more adjustment, especially on the areas of provisions and personal supplies. He was fascinated at how the Bofengs connect to the machines like a computer seamlessly connects to another one. He realized they also need to clear some divisions so the rooms can be of some use as storage. He told all the outpost staff to do this while on duty. So, the Norsets and Bofengs became construction crews as well. As he deployed the outposts, he realized the Norsets he was looking at were not from his ships but were deployed all the way from the Norset galaxy to install the telecom equipment. He tested the line and called Roden, then Binatan, then Vicky and Timmy. Later a Norset told him that it would be easier for the system if he just talked as a hologram in real time and they can talk to his hologram at their end. He felt floored but did not show it. Andrew was able to deploy all the outposts a day less than scheduled. He promptly divided his Armada and deployed half of his ships at the middle of the outpost line and another at the very end of the line. He traveled through the Hop outpost to planet Los Angeles and it took less than 2 hours. He arrived a few hours ahead of the time for his son's baptism. Vicky as always has taken everything in control. She invited Tonin and paired him with Edna, Binatan with Julia, Godanen with Elaine, Ambassador Gilkin with Tammy, the Bofeng Queen with the U.S. Vice President as the baby's godparents. She had to explain the concept but it was not hard for the aliens to understand because they seemed to have the same concept back in their world. The reception was held at the party place and this time the event was less formal. And because it was less formal there were twice the number of guests, especially with the addition of the Norsets and the Bofengs. There was more drinking and a lot more regular food. It occurred to Andrew how in the world can they afford the food and everything else. It turned out Vicky spent half a year's salary and Maria and Edna helped in the catering for the food. All of the alien food were brought in by the aliens themselves. Several hours into the reception Vicky and the baby left with the Mac nanny. The baby clearly has had his fill of the party, so Andrew took his family home. As they were saying their goodbyes to their friends, one of the Norset Outpost staff appeared before Andrew and, "Hello Andrew, my name is Nathan, Outpost Commander of the last and furthest outpost. Yesterday we encountered an anomalous signal and 4 of your ships left to check it out. It turned out they were faint signals from a Norset backup planet 355 MLY from the end of the hops where my outpost is. May I request to make first contact?" Binaton and Tonin were beside Andrew when the Norset appeared. Binaton interjected and said, "No, we will come over and make contact. Tonin, get Borin and Janan to come with us." The Norset at the other end of the line thanked their beloved leader. Tonin smiled and he felt good that their beloved leader can make the first contact on a colony dispatched under extreme stress solely to preserve their species. To bring them back to the fold and remove their anxiety about their future. Tonin and Binaton promptly excused themselves. Gandley and Gadden offered to come but Binaton told them to enjoy the party. At that point Andrew had to leave. The next day Andrew woke up and saw Vicky holding the baby and having just finished feeding him. "How is he?" Andrew asked. "I almost forgot how to do this. He gets hungrier than Tammy ever was. If you can hold him, I can prepare your breakfast." She burped the baby for Andrew. Andrew was excited but was unsure of how to do it. He has done this 10 times only since Adam was born. He stood up and took his usual position, readying himself to hold the baby. Vicky transferred Adam to Andrew's waiting arms. The baby was quiet and when Andrew started to swing, he fell asleep. Andrew was lucky he fell asleep. He would not know what to do if he's awake.